I just listened back to it for the first time, and it's not perfect, but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna leave it up as it is, because I want it to be a realistic depiction of what it would look like in a live performance if theoretically I were to have to play every solo in one take live, doing Epitaph in its entirety. When I did all of the segmented videos, like one on their own, I used a fret wrap. For this video, I did not. I'm also turning up my guitar even louder so that way y'all can hear the mistakes. I want this to be very real and very authentic. I'm not as good as Lawrence Miller. I'm not. He's leagues above my technical ability, and I appreciate him for the inspiration. In the I didn't really listen to Epitaph growing up. I listened to Spawn of Possession and a couple Obscura records. Necrophagist wasn't my favorite, but I saw Lawrence Miller do this challenge, and then one day it hit me like, why don't I try to do this? Why don't I see what I'm capable of? And I could barely play the Stabling solo. I was not good enough to play this, but I didn't even know the songs. So I started about 2.5 months ago. It took me 2 months to learn, record, and post every solo. And then it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to practice it all in one take and get to the point where I accept that it's not going to be perfect, but I want y'all to see it for real. So it feels like an emotional release. Like I didn't expect this to happen, but about halfway through Symbiotic in Theory, I started to crack up a little bit, and my technique got a little bit sloppy. But it's because I was getting that release of holy crap, I'm done. When I was playing 7, once I got to that tapping part in there, I knew that I was going to make it through the entire song, or the entire album. And yeah, feels like a weight off my chest. I have been thinking about this every day since I started it with this grand goal, and seeing how good I can get at guitar, and I'm proud of this. I'm really proud of this. I cannot express to you how many hours I spent working on this. Again, I didn't know these songs or these solos. I got very familiar with this Stramberg guitar that I'm very critical of, but it's because I spent a lot of time with it. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to kind of have to start crying, you know, halfway through Symbiotic in Theory, but here we are. I cannot believe that it's over. I feel lighter. I feel like I can breathe, and my voice is still shaking. Like, that was the hardest part of this, was fighting my hands shaking throughout the entire solo, or the entire experience, like through the entire take. My hands were shaking. It felt like a spike of adrenaline. It was very hard to do this. It was very easy to do it in the comfort of my own room, but once I turn the camera on and get with all the lights and the position, it's a little different. But thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting this entire journey. This is going to be part of a much bigger video. If you're seeing this on Instagram and TikTok, there's going to be a YouTube video where I talk about a lot more of the detail of doing this experiment. So cheers. Make sure you're subscribed so that way you can see the follow-up video where I talk about the solos in detail. Like, we're going to rank them. We're going to talk about some of the techniques and motifs and patterns that are littered throughout the entire album, and my general experience learning this. I don't want to get too much into it with this video. This was just meant to be the performance. And thank you all for watching and supporting me throughout this entire thing. This was a very emotional journey, if you will. Dude, I put so much work into learning that. I cannot believe that it's over. It's wild.